It's Thursday morning, and I'm at Northern Elementary in rural Pendleton County. I'm here today to talk to third graders about our food supply. The first question I ask, where does milk come from? The response that I got, Wyatt's, our local grocery store. This amazed me. I could not believe that students of this age in rural Kentucky didn't know where their food came from. That fact has led me to where I am today. Agricultural illiteracy is rampant in our country, and we as agriculturalists need to take heart and take a stand to promote agricultural literacy. In past generations, large amounts of the population were involved in agriculture, but now less than 2% of the entire population are active agriculturalists. In 2014, the United States farming industry employed more than 827,000 people around the world. And while that doesn't sound bad, the population in 2014 was more than 318 million people. That means in the past 4 years we have lost 25% of agricultural ambassadors. And that's at a rate of 6.25% per year, would make agricultural jobs and farming down to a bare minimum by next year. The United States is a major player in the global trade of agricultural products. In 2015 alone, exported agricultural products were worth some $133 billion US. And to ensure that America remains a world leader in the exportation of agricultural goods, the USDA is constantly conducting cutting-edge agricultural research. And this is something to talk about. Get the word out that agriculture does not only feed the people, but also the entire population would be hungry unless reverting to sustainable agriculture, whereas right now we're all dependent upon production agriculture. Currently, livestock production systems cover about 30% of the ice-free terrestrial surface area, which means all USDA regulated meat is produced on 8.76% of the planet's surface. And with a constantly growing population, we're going to need more than 9% of the earth to raise a food supply. This is why we need to spread the word and become active ambassadors for agriculture. Ways we can accomplish improved rates of agricultural literacy are things like volunteer work, telling your personal story, getting involved, and correcting misconceptions. Volunteering can be simple, like offering to talk to your local ag classes or local schools. However, you can also take it into a more in-depth approach, such as volunteering your time at a local fair or other major event. And if you choose to, you can also get in touch with your local agricultural teacher, extension agent, or your local farm bureau, and they could help you come up with a way to effectively spread agricultural literacy to your area. A main way to combat agricultural illiteracy is correcting the most misconcepted areas of agriculture. The relationship between agriculture and the environment. Most people believe that farming destroys the environment and takes tons of habitat away from wildlife. And while this is true in certain cases, farmers and ranchers are working hard to improve habitat while providing food, fiber, and fuel to a growing population. To date, farmers and ranchers have contributed a total of more than 27 million acres to the Conservation Reserve Program, which helps to replace lost habitats due to urbanization and production farming. The relationship between agriculture and food. This amazes me. Does chocolate milk come from brown cows? The answer is obvious to us that all cattle produce unpasteurized white milk. However, most of the population believes that brown cows would produce chocolate milk. And then the relationship between agriculture and technology is really diverse, but we're going to break it down into two main parts. What we'll be looking at is agricultural technology used to predict future generations and food production rates. First, the population is growing, causing a higher demand for food. So will we need to constantly increase the amount of farmers to go with it? By 2050, agricultural production will need to be increased by 60% to combat the growing population. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that farming will have to increase 60%. Technological advancements combined with urbanization and production farming increasing will meet the demand for rising food costs, while production efficiency and everything else will play into it too, and combining them all will meet the rising food demands. These misconceptions are why agricultural literacy is important now more than ever. And we, as agriculturalists, need to better ourselves of getting the word out to these populations that believe that agriculture is a terrible thing. The higher literacy rates we can create, the more support for agriculture we can obtain. Excuse me. And the more support we can obtain gains the more support for agriculture as an accepted thing in general. And the more accepted agriculture is, the easier it will be to teach children and other adults even that their food comes from farmers and ranchers and not the grocery store alone. Thank you.